Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Sandra. Hi, Diana. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
All right. So I'll be starting in a bit. So yeah, maybe brief introduction. Name is James Chindendo, designer and developer, part-time developer. You can call me by Kuda. Right. Feel free to, of course, introduce yourselves, ask questions, whatever you like. But for today, we'll be building this in Prima. So this is like a sample hero page. Could be an ad, whatever, right? But it's just something we want to build in Prima. And it's also interactive here in Figma, right? And then, of course, so these are things we'll be recreating in Prima, just something simple. And I think I also share the file here with you and open it up so that everyone can follow along.
I have one question. Was this design page also created by you?
Yes, the component was something I found online, but I created this over the night myself. So I recreated this and then because the page,
Looks pretty.
yeah, it is. All right, so I think I'll just move over to Framer now. Send the link on the group, on the chat rather, so you can open and follow along if you want to. Should- All right. Okay, so Framer, initially the idea was just the components, but I just introduced the text basically for responsiveness sake so that maybe I could touch on that. And yeah, this is Prima. Uh, I like working in light mode, even though the rest of my PC is in dark mode. So first things first, I like to create my breakpoints. I'll start with lowercase, so I'll just rename this to desktop in lowercase and then of course create tablets. I'll do the same. And then of course the mobile. So one thing to note in Framer is that if you're working on responsiveness, it starts on the desktop, and 80% of the time you don't need to touch anything on the tablet or on the phone. If you do it right, I think the most you touch is the paddings and maybe the spaces, but all the responsiveness issues should happen on the desktop. So I'll create a layout, which is like an auto layout in Framer in Figma. So create a layout and take out the cap. That's all zero. So we have this in stacks. Now, next thing I'm going to do is to use the Figma to Framer plugin to at least get the text. Anyways, I don't think I don't think I want to do that, but yeah, I think I'll just copy what I have from Figma and over to Framer. So here's the color, the base color. I'll just copy this and have it here, and we are live. So next, I'll just insert the text. So that'll be white. Font is Reddit Sans. Reddit Sans. But I'll just make this heading. So that should be my H1 because it's the first element on the page. and then I can edit it, then check what's on Figma. So that will be 80 font size by 80. And still do the same here. 80, I like working in rems, so that'll be 5 rem. And line height will be 1M. Then of course fast smarter POS, faster payments, okay? So let's go. If you noticed, I didn't use the enter button to type faster because usually in development you don't want to do that because it will affect the responsiveness. And what you want to do is you want to add a max width. So I'll take a max width of say 400 and see if that works. Then of course I'm going to increase it and we'll see. Right, so edit the heading and we can make it bolder. It should be bold, yeah. And then of course, then let's see. All right, it's this button that works. And I want to add, okay, so usually if you're designing, you want to create a container to house everything. So I'm going to create a container and give it some auto layer frame and then put this inside of the container. So that will be put inside a stack. Then that would be, if you can hear me, let me know. Maybe I'll increase my volume.
Good.
Okay, can you hear me? All right, so for this, I'll add a linear gradient. So there should be like so, and that gives it that flow. Overflow needs to set to visible so that the Y wouldn't be cut out. But we can just set this to the height of the container to fill at the moment. So yeah, that's that. We have that. So next we want to insert our subtext, which is this. Then that's it. So the container will be set. So I'll have to change the direction to this, and then of course change the positioning and make this fill as well, and then give it like a max width, say 400, maybe 320 because I want the arms to come to the new line. And yeah, so remember you don't use your enter key to do the line breaking, otherwise it's going to have responsiveness challenges. So I want to add these two into a new stack. Just right click and then add stack. Maybe I just give it a max width here instead. 640 as well. And change the orientation and change the gap to say 24. And then of course I want to make this a paragraph text. And let's see how that goes. And yeah, we have something yet. And let's just name this heading. And then we have our heading text and then the subtext. And you notice it has some glowing effects, and that is because we used an overlay blend mode in Figma. So I'll introduce the same in Figma. So basically just go to styles, I think, blending, and then you can add overlay. So that gives you the color you want. So what happened in Figma was that I gave it multiple color so that I duplicated it 4 times. So in Framer, I can't do that. So I'll just duplicate the item, add it in a new stack, the heading item, and maybe call it title. And then I'm going to duplicate this, and then of course set the position to absolute, and set the position top, left, right, and bottom to 0, so that it's responsive. And okay, that's the bottom. All right, and I duplicate it. So you have about 4 of that. They have almost exactly what you have in Figma, right? So now you notice the background. We have this glitter. That's just an image, right? So just import the image and then have it in Figma. So I'll add that image to this container. That would be, so that should be this. Let's try that. Okay, that's comfortable. With that, I think I'll just export. I think I'll just bring it into Figma and make some changes. All right, so I want to add a radial effect here, basically. Yeah, yeah, so that the edges are faded out in a bit. And then now I can export this. Yeah. Okay. Back to the errors. So I want to rasterize this basically. And yeah, export this. And then just add that back to the container as a fill. Okay, let's set this to style. And I think that's better. Scale. Okay, let's see. 150. I think that works. Right, then just drop the opacity. And is that a good thing to do? I guess. Yeah, dropping the opacity is not exactly a good thing because it will affect the rest of the content. So just basically drop it. And what I'll do is I create another frame to house the image inside of this and then make it absolutely positioned. And of course, top, left, right, and bottom. Yeah. Then I'm going to copy this fill and then I'm going to paste it on the new frame. And I'm going to call this frame background BG. And yeah, and set the Z index to a negative. And then this, I can set the Z index to positive here. So we have that now. Now I can maybe add a blend mode even to this if I wanted. Let's see. And then I can drop the opacity to 0.4. Maybe it doesn't seem to be working, but yeah. Oh yeah, it was working, but the view was actually interrupting. See, yeah. All right, we have that done. And we're having something nice in the responsiveness part as well. So something I'm going to do is I'm going to add padding, right, to this. And for the desktop, I like to use 120. For tablets, I like to use 80. But of course, whatever. So this will be the most we'll be doing, adjusting the gaps and the spacing in mobile and tablet. So here we have 40, and yeah, that makes sense. So now the text is very big, maybe it's too big, and the title here has a clip. If you look at this, it's clipping the Y. So I'll just set this overflow to visible and have that resolved. Also on the desktop. Now something else I'd like to do. Just set the gap to 0. Let's see. All right. Yeah. So the reason I removed the Z index was because it wasn't connecting with the background, and therefore the blend mode wasn't working. Now we have that sorted. The next thing, what will be the next thing, I guess? Yeah, the next thing will be the component proper, which is where all of the work is. And now I'll need the tool to help me with that. Um, okay. So I would use Figma's plugin, Figma to Framework plugin. I don't expect that it will do a decent job, and I might have to do this from scratch, but let's see how far it gets us. All right, so I'm just going to copy this to clipboard and try pasting in Framework inside the container as well. So, so let's see. It's imported it as an image, so I can't work with that. And, maybe I can, but I wanted it to be like a very editable component. So I just take this out and try to design it from scratch in Framework. That's going to take a while, but yeah, that's why we're here. And so yeah, we have a stack, and inside of it we have, okay, maybe I just duplicate this and break it down. So we have a stack, the pricing container, and then inside of it we have other containers absolutely positioned. So if I take the absolute position off and then bump the opacity, you see we have some other content there that basically helps with the interaction, which is this. So if you look at the interaction again, yeah, you notice this was so we want to create this from scratch. It's not going to be an easy one. So yeah. Okay, so I'll copy each of these individually. I think it should work in with the plugin. So copy these two, copy them to clipboard, and let's see what happens. And I need to lock this background because it's always been selected. I don't need it. And yeah, okay. So let's see. So we have that. That works. And okay, let's do fill and then give it a max width. Okay, just move the max width. Okay, give it a fill, and then of course I want to add this to a stack, which would be a pricing container. Maybe I just say container, and then I give it a max width of 640 maybe. Yeah, and I want to increase the gap here to maybe like 240, and 240 because we'll be having the image on the top. And maybe I just give this a minimum height of 100 viewports. So basically just fills our viewport, and we have this centered. So I'm going to have a second option. then this tab I'm just going to, yeah. So the second option will be with the color. Then this and yeah. So let's make this bit content so that we can see what we're doing, and of course the same thing for, yeah. So we have that sorted. So next I want to duplicate this for the pricing container proper, and then maybe just edit the period that likes it. I'm going to give it a padding of 40, and I'm going to take out the shadows. Yeah, shadows here we have to. All right. So I'm going to add the color here. So the color here is 171717, and yeah, getting somewhere. Now inside of this, I have two containers. So I think I can export each of these with a plugin. And let's do that. And yeah, we have something. So I'll just attach this to the tester. So this should be paragraph. Color should be 616. Yeah. And these icons, on a normal day, I usually just take them off because the conversion doesn't render the icons well, but then just use the full spot icon pack from Framer, and yeah, just replace the icons. But I don't think I'll be doing that today. Maybe I will. Let's see. Yeah. Um, and this is necessary if you want to attach it to a color variable in Framer. That's why you'll be doing that instead of using this, because you cannot edit the color of this. All right, so I'll just replace this. So this, I just have this third here. Oops. That doesn't work. Why doesn't that work? Okay. Okay. So I'll just paste it here. Paste it here. All right, so we have the icons sorted, and then just move them over to the left. And yeah, that's that. I think that one is sorted. Maybe just give it this. Yes. I'm going to do the same for this, and hopefully it turns out nice. Plugins, and let's see. Okay, that wasn't bad. All right, so gap, we'll see. I think that makes sense. Let's see. By the way, relative and field units are the same, but for some reason I just love to use field and not relative. And there's something here. What is that? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. So we have credit, which is the name of the font. So we don't have that here, so we have to upload a custom font. inside of Framer. I already have that installed, so I'll just, I don't know which one it is now. Let's see, which is it? So that's credit font. I think I'll just install the only one I need. Usually you want to install only the font you need and nothing else so that your website will load faster. So yeah, I have this, I have this. So I want to set one of them to absolute. And then because it has to start at the left and at the center. All right, so we have that part sorted, we have this part sorted. It's and it as well. All right. So this the kernel is not exactly enough. So yeah, I'll just adjust the height here. And what would that be in Figma? That will be 48, I think. And yeah, let's have that. All right. So this, I'll just place this in a stack, which is like bottom container, and I'll set it to fill and set it to bottom, align bottom. And yeah, that's that. So we are getting somewhere. And then I'll just have to set this to absolute. And let's see how that goes. Okay. Yeah. For some reason it has lost its shadow, I guess. See. All right, anyway, we'll get back to that. And yeah, almost there. We still have something else. We still have another line here, which is, let's see, one F1. All right. So I'll create that with a frame and make it absolutely positioned. And yeah, so that's the system. All right. And what would the roundness be? Roundness would be 40. Yeah. So that would be the radius. And we'll give it the border. Interesting. Okay. And you can call this border. So, all right. So yeah, we are almost there. One thing that is missing is there's some glue to this, and then the images. So I'll just add the glue, and I'll add that to the frame. So the shortcut for a frame is F, just in case you're wondering what I'm doing that with. So just and then the radius, just make it 100%, and yeah, make it like 480, and then give it like filter floor. Let's see. You don't want to overuse the blur filter anyways because it lags on the web. Right, so I'll just move this here, somewhere here. And yeah, so we have that. And next thing we're going to do is to add some blending. It should be overlay. Yeah. So that's a good one. So you can increase the Z index if you wanted to. And just remove this. Then maybe reduce the Z index here. Okay. Maybe I'll add that back. Anyway, Z index is tricky, very tricky. So sometimes it doesn't connect. If you're using blend modes, especially because if an item has an Z index of 1, then it doesn't connect with the item beneath it. Exactly, unless the item has a similar Z index of 1. So it's just a little bit tricky. I'm going to adjust this, then make it. All right. Yeah, we have something. And that is that, I guess. So I'm going to set this to visible so I can see the shadows. And I'm also going to set this to absolute and give them a negative Z index. Yeah, maybe 0. And then the rest of the container, the other container should have a higher Z index. I'm affecting the wrong container. It should be glue. And then, yeah, that should be this Z index. All right. And now I want to set the rest of the index to 0. And yeah, getting somewhere now. And we'll notice that this has a shadow, I think. So I'm just going to copy the shadow from here and then paste here. That's the beauty of figma. You can paste styles. Then maybe you can adjust later. And maybe not this style. So that would be another style. Okay. So let's see. Anyway, I'll just adjust that myself. Let me see the value in figma. So that'll be 1 to 16. 16. All right. And then it has the shadows. Right, it has the shadows. You have this. You have some glue to the left and the right as well. And then I'll add that. Good enough. Second one with this. I don't know if I know, so just go back to this. And by the way, if you have any questions, please share. Please bring it. And yeah. All right. So I have a frame here. Make it a white and make it a gradient instead. absolutely positioned and aligned to the left and to the center. And we can add a blur here, just a little blur. And make it more. Then set it a little, maybe just make it so. All right. So yeah, well, that's maybe we can give it a blend mode as well. Overlay. All right. And so prominence. Yeah, we can have that. We can have the glue as well. Then we can have it to the right. Doesn't hurt. All right. Some extra glue to give it some vibe. And now we're going to have the SVG contents at the top here. Basically, I just export as PNG. Export as PNG. Same thing for this export as PNG. So there are like two SVGs there to achieve that. And all right, just drag and drop. Okay, so that's not bad. All right, make it absolutely positioned. And let's do the same here. So we positioned. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so maybe 64. Let's see how this goes as well. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So we have that nice. This is this is messed up in mobile, but we'll get to that. And that is because it's a very custom component. So let's take this. Okay. That's another. So looking good here and here. So next will be the image. Yeah. So I think we can just reduce this. All right. Okay, so I'm going to export the two separately. Let's call it PS. Then, yeah, also going to do the same for this. Okay. Yeah. So you want to make sure that the images have the same dimension. So let's check if that is the case. Okay. What's in my this is great then. Okay. Oh, wow, we have a challenge here. That's interesting. Okay. I think I'll just stick with the blues for now. And those heights. Okay. So I'll import the images. And so for now, we just need one of it. We're making a component out of this hero section. We just need one of it. And absolute as always. Sure. Okay. Where do we have the image? Where did the image go? It's over here. Okay. So I want to add a stack to it because it's going to be two. So one and then one. So add a stack to this as well. Add a stack to this and make it fit. And of course, make it fit. Then I'm just going to call this image. And this would be 15 minus 15, and then this would be 15. I put it in a stack because I want to add the hover function to the stack and not the image itself. And yeah, we have something. Okay. Okay. So yeah, in that case, I can reduce the gap in the container maybe to 200. Yeah, I think that works. So yeah, we didn't talk about the heading, so I'll just maybe give it. So the beauty about using styles in Framer is that you can give the styles breakpoints. So breakpoints, I'll just add breakpoints. So maybe here I'll use forum. No, okay. Maybe in medium I use forum. Okay, that's fine. Maybe I'll still use 5 frame. All right. And then on mobile, I'll use something smaller. Let's see, 2.5. Yeah, that makes sense. And then maybe I'll just drop a gap. So remember what I said. Most you'll be doing is adjusting the gap and the spaces. Of course, apart from the components, because it's a highly interactive one, so we have to be very aware around that. And yeah, something I'll try to get the yellow offsets is to add this. Okay, set index, and then maybe add a blend mode and see. Okay, yeah, that works. Add the blend mode of hue. So here, maybe I just name it to you. And that's what's our challenge. That's impressive. Okay. So yeah, we're going to add the glue to the image. So that'll be 240 and this. All right. So I'll just add it to the title container. Let's see. Okay, that doesn't work. So I'll just have to add it inside each of the texts, or maybe inside one of them. Okay. So let's copy that color again. And so that'll be 0. Interesting. Okay, so let's copy this. If we can add it to this as well. All right. So move overflow to visible. And yeah, we're good to go. So next will be to start adding interactions to this. And to do that effectively, I would have to make this a component. Right. Okay. So I have to make this a component. And now I don't have to bother about responsiveness. That should take care of itself. Okay. Maybe not. All right. So I'll okay, create a variable out of the padding so that I can adjust it for tablets and mobile. In this case, that will be empty, and here that will be 40. Yeah, And maybe also create a variable out of the gap here. So maybe just call it gap. Okay. And here we make that gap 16. Yeah, that works. All right. So now I'm going to create multiple instances of this variant, just like in Figma. Basically. So we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Shouldn't be that hard, I believe. So let's set this to 0. Now we have a problem. Set to absolute. Let's see. Okay. So if you want to make changes to the entire component, you have to make it to the primary component, then to apply to the variant. But if you want to make of course changes that don't apply to all, you make it to the individual variants. Okay. So now I'm going to have to use left padding to adjust this. Okay. So make this, let's see, just going to, adjust the pattern here. So that's the top pattern. So that gives the illusion. So I'll take out the overflow here, set it to visible. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So I think I'll have to adjust the sizes of this. Okay. All right. Statement okay, is that okay? Okay. Yeah, so you have something. And now I'm going to change this image to the one with the glow. Let's see how that goes. Yeah. Okay. So I'll create another variant out of this. And then let's see. Second variant, okay. It's this. This. Let's set it. Alright. Mm, I'm going to do the same for this. Yes. Okay, so I think I just named this. So this should be hover blue, right? Hover for the blue should give you this. And then press for the blue, will give you this. And then what else? Hover for the orange, give you this. Yeah. Set this to 0 and right. Then it's 4. Okay, that's right. So to expand. Okay, interesting. So I'm going to give this a fixed width as well. That's same. Oh, yeah, that should be and 60. Okay, 16. Alright. Then of course for the image I'm going to change to the glowing one. And wow. So notice I have to re-export the images, but that should be the list of our challenges. Okay. Let's see. 52. Alright. Alright. It should be 52. Okay. So let's make this press again. Let's see. Okay, 112. Alright, I'm gonna have to increase that gap here. But okay. Alright. So I think we can start adding interactions a little bit. See how it goes. Alright. So for this, I'm going to set the colors to 100. So for yearly, colors. Alright. So what else would have to change? Okay. Let's see. So I'm going to give it a Z index, basically. So that it comes on top. Okay, so I think it has to just be this one. Okay, I'm going to do the same for this here. Okay, so we're going to add the shadows to this. So, okay, let's define that system. Okay, see what that looks like here. System. Okay, I'm going to do the same for here, and let's see. Feel free to ask questions if you have any. All right. Okay. X that. Okay. And it's mhm. I just should change for okay. I'm going to copy all and do the same here. And just change the color. Okay, so so okay. Yes, and absolute. Okay, okay. All right. So this is pretty boring process getting this out. Let's see how it goes. Okay. All right. So, 7. Okay. Let's see. Pretty much everything. Okay. 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 All right. Okay. You have so 56. Okay. 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 Mm, okay. 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 Top shadow 64, 64, 64. I don't know. Shadow to this. Okay. And All right. So we're done with the variants, and the next thing would be to add the interactions, basically. All right. So for this, we'll set the hover interaction. New transition. Should I say mouse enter? Then we should set the variance to hover blue. And then same for this should be on click this to press blue. And then this should be on click. It goes back to hover blue. And then we do the same for the orange ones. So I'll be mouse enter. Mouse enter. Yes, to over orange. And then of course over orange on click. Click goes to press orange, right? And yeah, then this for this one, click goes back to orange. And let's see, we missing anything? Alright. Okay, so this hover should go to this outside. And then this hover to should go to this. Now we're going to adjust the shadows for this. So basically just be the color for the orange instead. So okay. Mm, let's see. All right. So let's play our prototype and see what it causes, what it does. It should be the moment of truth. All right. Okay. So, okay. Yeah, it works. Interesting. Okay, so notice some errors, which is basically the blend, the hue mode keeps showing up when you hover. And then we have this yeah, we have this shadows here that need to be hidden. I think so. shadows, restore, zero. This, then I will do the same for this. Copy all. Add shadows, restore. Set this to zero. Set this to zero. Hi, Emmanuel.
What's up, boss?
Yeah, I'm good.
Sorry I'm late.
No problem. Almost done.
No wahala now. I go follow from record here.
All right. Okay. Yeah, getting somewhere. That is just so we still have a challenge with this. I just name this. And I don't think we'll be handling. I'll just duplicate this one so that the orange also gets duplicated. And yeah, for this, we didn't change the color, so yeah, that works now. All right, so I'm going to publish again and we'll see how that goes. Okay. All right, let's see. Something I noticed was the container here seems to have a clip. So something has a clip, or it doesn't. All right. Okay. This is depressing. Good to go. I think so. Okay, so one more thing. I think I would have to remove the effect here, the hover effect on the press states. Okay. All right. Hi, Zach.
Happy New Year, my daddy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So missed an interaction. So when you press this again, should go back to hover orange. Yes, that is correct. So why is it not doing that? Okay. All right. Let's see. And read Interesting. Why? Why is it doing like that? Okay. On click goes back to over orange. That's true. Foundation goes over. So technically this should work. For some reason it doesn't. Okay, think I know the challenge is the hue, so I'm going to set the hue. That's a big problem. I set the pointer events to none. Would it affect it? Okay, let's see. All right, that works. Now we're still struggling with that little bit before the blend mode kicks in, which is not exactly pleasant. Okay, so I think I would make this higher in the Z index. And yeah, okay. Hi Sandra, are you still here?
Yes, I'm watching the finalization of the whole prototype. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. But we have a challenge because the workaround for this happens to glitch in a few seconds. I may have to look for some other solution.
Yeah, but that's bug fixing basically.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let me try exporting on Figma, but this time around with kind of like a background. But if this doesn't work, I guess we'll call it a day. Spent an hour 30 already, so I think I'll get to the mobile. But usually for this kind of uh, high-end interactions, we just have a static component for mobile instead. That's just turn off the interactive components for mobile and then turn on the static one for mobile. So that's usually how it's done because it basically may not function so well on mobile. Let's see. That is 665 by 649. Okay, guess I'll just export with this. Let's see. All right. Business on screen. Assets work. So just turn this off. Let's see. I want to. Then I have to increase the height of this. Make this fixed. Okay, fixed and fixed. All right. Okay. So that's visible. So, all right. Let's set it. Let's set to the. Okay. So change image is the one with the color. Check the one with the color. All right. So let's see how that goes. We're still having the same challenge. Oh, so just and do this. Okay. I think we just have that. It works. see. Okay, see how that. So I guess we'll stick to this. Let's keep 18. Yeah, it works. It works. The same here. Probably. That's not a fair one. Let's do the 6. Yeah. All right. Well, better still, I could just edit this with photopea. Okay, what's the color again? Yep, 8,000. And we have that as here. Okay, that's what I would have done since. Okay, let's do that. Copy mask, set to here, and save. All right. Oh, I want to expect this is just one. Yeah, then just do. That was an easier fix than I thought. Do the same here. Okay, yeah, so we are fully set. So something else I wanted to talk about would just be the SEO settings. So you can just have some description here. So US past add the self language, English, usually, and then add the description, which most of the times is just your then you add it into general so that it serves as a fallback for all the pages, just in case you're working on multiple pages. You can add your favor icon if you want. Yeah, you should add your favor icon for light scene, for dark scene, if it's any different. And Apple Touch icon, this is also used for bookmarks and Android, so not just Apple. And the social preview is the image you see when you share the page. But I think that would be all the SEO settings for this. I don't have an icon for it. I'll just have to publish and to see how that goes. Right, to see that the name has appeared here. Okay. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to delete the mobile breakpoint so that it only appears, so that the tablet basically just scales down. And let me test that and then see whether it works on my phone. And let's see. Still doesn't work, but yeah, it doesn't work as it should. So probably we'll just hide it for mobile. And yeah, maybe if I have some more time, sometime I can create a variable disable and yes, then hide it for mobile. Okay, created the wrong variable for the wrong time. So that will be this create a variable. Okay, so here let's do this one. Yes, all right. Okay. So the picture go just so people don't see share design on mobile. All right. So I think that is the end of our section. Right. So yeah, you got any more question you can ask. And yeah, besides that, maybe just introduce yourselves. Love to know about you, Sandra, and then maybe Emmanuel.
Yeah,
The
but
remaining people to come. Yeah.
I haven't ever used Framer, so I don't have questions because everything is new to
Okay.
me. But I finally saw step by step, and it seems pretty straightforward and not scary at
Yeah.
all. Very similar to Figma. So maybe my portfolio will be built on Framer. Give some
Yeah.
ideas.
It should be. And they have some discounts, student discounts. So if you have a student email or whatever, you can get a free portfolio for a year. Yeah, basically just check the Framer site. There are lots of freebies.
Hmm.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
But
thank you
yeah,
very
thanks for
much
being on
for
the call.
for battling the latest bugs, and I will have to
Yeah.
jump. So thanks.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, and goodbye. Bye, Emmanuel.